Good morning, dear students.
Good morning, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. 16 people have joined, 17. We'll wait for another 2 minutes and we'll get started. Okay, guys, should we get started?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Do you remember where we had stopped in the previous class? Anyone?
So about transactions, you were saying, sir, that debit card, credit card, process
We were
transactions.
talking about credit cards and debit cards, right? Especially with
Yes, sir.
credit cards. We were discussing about credit cards.
So we had completed steps involved in credit card
Right, right,
processing.
right, right. Okay, so we'll just revise those steps again and then we'll continue with the next part, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me share the screen now. Okay, guys, just see if you can see the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so if you remember, we start in the previous class, we started with something called as credit cards. What are credit cards or what are smart cards? Under that, we have debit cards and credit cards. Then how do they work, like who is a card holder, who is a merchant, who is an acquirer, who is a card association, what is a card association, and what is the issuer. Guys, do you remember these entities? Who are those entities? Are you clear with these entities, everyone? Because if you understand the entities, then only you will be able to understand the process of how the cards are processed. Everybody is clear with this? If any doubts in this entities, I can explain you this in another 2 minutes. No issues at all. Okay, if there are any doubts, you can just unmute yourself and ask. Guys, if you have any doubts, you can ask, or else I'll go ahead. Are you
The card
comfortable?
association.
Sorry, who is this?
The so Preeti.
Yeah, Preeti, card association is basically on your credit cards. If you see, you have Visa or MasterCard or Mastro, or you have the RuPay, right?
Yes, sir.
These are called as the card associations, who basically act as an intermediary between the issuer's bank and the acquirer's bank. Okay, these are the associations, or these are the companies who issue credit cards, who manufacture or who produce credit cards.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what happens is, in a credit card transaction, there is someone called as a merchant, from where you purchase the goods, and there is someone called as a card holder, or the purchaser, or the customer, right? So what happens, the customer gives the card. When he buys goods, he gives the cards to the merchant swipes the card then comes the acquirer is nothing but the banker of the merchant. Okay, then comes your association, and after that is your issuer, and then again your customer or the card holder. Okay, so this is how the transaction happens. Let's understand that again once again. Okay, sorry. Yes, so merchant, you purchase goods. What do you do when you purchase goods? You give them a credit card. The transaction data is given to the merchant banker for processing. The acquirer for processing. The acquirer sends the transaction data to the associations. Now associations are your Visa or MasterCard or RuPay or Mastro. These are the associations who issue credit cards. Basically they manufacture credit cards, and banks use those credit cards. Okay, then this data is sent to the issuer's bank. Okay, the issuer, it is called as the issuer, and the issuer sends a statement to the card holder. Now what does the card holder do? On the due date, card holder makes the payment. That is processed by the association by the bank. It goes to the association makes the payment to the bank. Now what happens here is, okay, understand one thing. Okay, uh, first, on day one, let's say today is 5th, I guess. Is it 5th today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So 5th of October, you have done a uh, shopping. Okay, you did shopping, right? So what happens is, you gave a credit card to that merchant. Okay, maybe you went to went to DMart and you did some shopping and you gave a credit card. Now what happened? The the DMart fellow, he swiped your card. Okay, that information went to the acquirer. Okay, that is the merchant's processing bank. Okay, it is called as the acquirer. Basically authenticated your information, the credit card, whether it is authentic or no. So that authentication process happened here. Okay, and then the payment, then it was approved, the transaction was approved. Okay, it happened here itself. Okay, you went out. Okay, your shopping is done. Fine. Next, what happened is, the merchant bank or the acquirer sent the information to the association, which is either, maybe your card was Visa. So the merchant bank or the issuer, no, sorry, the acquirer sent the data to the association. Now this doesn't happen on individual basis. Okay, this happens on a batch wise. Okay, at the end of the day, batches are created, like batches of Visa, batches of MasterCard, batches of Mastro, and batches of RuPay. These are the batches which are created, and those batches are sent to the associations at the end of the day. Okay, now what happens is, these associations, as per the banks, okay, they send it to the respective issuers banks. Okay, and their account is debited, the bank's account is debited, and the payment is done to the acquirer. Okay, so that day itself, the payment is received by the acquirer, and the acquirer transfers the payment to the merchant. Okay, this happens at the end of the day. Now what happens when they debit this cardholder's bank, or the issuer, in our terminology it is called as an issuer, the association will debit their account. What the bank will do, what this issuer will do, they will send a statement to the card holder. Now this happens once in a month on the date which is specified, depends on the bank, depends on when you have taken the card, and depends on the bank basically. Okay, some banks have the date on 20th of every month, some have it on 10th of every month, and so on. So a statement is issued to the card holder, and after the receipt of the statement, he gets certain time period to make the payment. Around 10 days to 15 days is what he gets to make the payment. So already the issuer's account is debited by the association, that is, money is gone from the bank to the association, to the merchant, and to the merchant's bank and to the merchant. Now, bank has to receive it. Now, it receives it from whom? The card holder. So, card holder makes the payment within the stipulated time period which is allotted to him, and that is how the transaction is completed. Okay, so the merchant need not wait for 1 month for the amount to be credited to his account. It happens immediately, but the bank will get the money after the stipulated time period. Okay, I hope you're clear with this process. This is called as the credit flow clearing and settlement process. Everybody is clear with this, especially with the time period and who all are involved. I'll repeat: merchant, acquirer. Okay, okay, I'll use a annotate. Okay, this is the merchant. So the first party is the merchant, then the acquirer, they are called as acquirers or the merchant's bank. These are the associations, that is your companies which issues the credit cards. These are the issuers. Issuers is the bank which issues the credit cards, and there is a card holder, that is the customer. Okay, so what happens? Customers make shopping. He gives the credit card to the merchant. Merchant swipes it. The information goes to the acquirer or the merchant's bank. The bank authenticates the information and sends it back to the merchant. Merchant approves and authenticate and approves it and sends it back to the merchant. Merchant will sell the goods. After that, the merchant bank or the acquirer in batches, okay, it sends the transactions in batches to the respective associations. Like Visa goes to the Visa, MasterCard goes to MasterCard, RuPay goes to RuPay, and so on. So these details are sent to the respective associations in batches. Accordingly, the associations will debit the bank's account. Okay, as per the transactions, the bank's account will be debited. What happens after that? The bank, after some time, on the stipulated date, it sends a statement to the card holder. Now this statement is sent to the card holder. Okay, so and after the stipulated time, once you receive the statement, you get some time period to make the payments, let's say 15 days. So after receiving of the statement, after 15 days, the card holder makes the payment and the account is settled over here. Okay, there is no going back because this is already done. The payment is already done. Okay, so settlement happens here itself. So are you clear with this entire process of card processing and settlement? If yes, give a thumbs up so that we can go ahead with the next part. Okay, great. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. That is, okay, this is also done, I guess, in the previous one. Okay, yes, the steps involved in credit card processing, we had also done this. Now I want somebody to intervene and tell me who authorizes the transactions. Where does the authorization happens? Guys, I'm talking to you.
So the associations.
No, not the association, it is the acquirer. Okay, authorization happens.
So financial institutions.
See, authorization happens here itself. The transaction is authorized and sent to the merchant. So authorization happens here itself. Can you see
Yes,
the
sir.
arrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so authorization happens here itself at the acquirer. Okay. Next is batching. Now, who does the batching? Nabhiraj, who does the batching?
Authorize.
Who? Rohit?
So, I guess acquirer only, sir.
Yes, acquirer himself will do the batching, okay, and send the batches to the associations. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and clearing and settlement happens at the association, where association will debit the bank's account, that is the issuer's account, and credit the acquirer's account. Correct? And at the last, funding is done by the card holder. The card holder makes the payment to the issuer and the process is completed. So I hope you're clear with this entire process of credit card. Any doubts here? If there are any doubts, you are free to ask those doubts, or else I'll go ahead with the next part. Everybody is clear?
Yes, sir.
Swapnil, any doubts? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Can somebody tell me what are the advantages and disadvantages of credit card? Quickly. Advantages of credit cards.
Sir, 24 into 7 service.
Very good, Narayan. Next. The most important thing about credit card is you need not have balance at all. You need not have money. Even if you don't have money also, you can do the shopping, right?
Cashless transactions.
Cashless transaction is another advantage, yes. Then
So easy withdrawal and deposit.
the withdrawal is easy, deposit has to be done later. Okay, fine, but not really. Credit cards, we are talking about credit cards. Rohit.
Time saving, sir.
Sorry?
Time saving.
Yes, time saving. It saves a lot of time. Correct.
Points.
Sorry, Swapnil?
Bonus points.
Bonus point. Yes, you get something called as bonus points on the shoppings that you do, and you can use those bonus points, right? Very good. Okay, can somebody tell me the disadvantages then?
High interest if not paid in time.
Yes, yes. It attracts a huge amount of interest if you don't pay the dues in time. Okay, the interest is very high. Very nice, very true. Then
So hackers may hack our information, sir.
hacking is another
Cyber crimes.
yes, hacking is another issue. That's cyber crimes. Very nice. Then can be easily used if your credit card is lost or stolen. It can be easily used. Okay, because some of the machines, some of the POS machines even don't require passwords, your pins. Just swipe it, your transaction is completed. So in those cases, if you lose your credit cards and it is swiped, then it's a loss, great loss to you. So these are certain disadvantages of credit cards. Okay, now I want you to give me the difference between debit card and credit card one by one. Difference between debit card and credit card. We'll start with Sushmita Baragali. What is the difference between debit card and credit card? Sushmita, go ahead. Are you speaking? Sushmita, I'm not able to hear you. Utica, can you tell me a difference between debit card and credit card?
For credit card, you do not need cash to be there in the account, like money is taken on credit. And for debit card, there has to be a balance in your account.
Yes, very good. First of all, there should be a balance. There may not be a balance. Yes, then? So basically, we call it as debit card is pay now instrument. That is, you're paying immediately, whereas credit card is pay later instrument. Okay, you're going to pay it later. Correct? Though though the card is swiped and the account, the merchant gets the money, but you need not pay it immediately. You can pay it later, right? So that is credit card. Whereas debit card, automatically your account gets debited, so you have to pay it now. So it's pay now instrument, and another is a pay later instrument. Next. Any other difference between debit card and credit card?
Sir, for credit card, they will check credit score, sir.
Okay.
And for the debit card, they
Correct.
won't.
Yeah, for issue of credit card, your credit score or your financial status is checked whether you will be able to repay the debts or no. Whereas in case of debit cards, no such procedure is followed. Okay. Then maybe I'll give you one more. Debit cards are less cheaper than credit cards. Credit cards attract more cost than debit cards. Right? Okay, so just take down a small assignment. Okay, you have to write the difference between debit cards and credit cards. Difference between debit card and credit card in your assignment book itself, or your pages, whatever you're maintaining, or a book for that matter. Okay, difference between debit card and credit card. And second question is explain in detail with a neat diagram. Explain in detail with a neat diagram. Explain in detail with a neat diagram the process of payment, settlement and payment in credit cards. Process of payment and settlement in a credit card. Explain in detail with a neat diagram the process of payment and settlement in credit card. Okay, so next one that we're going to deal with today is electronic payment system. Now what is an electronic payment system is basically buying and selling goods or services online. That is a part of EPS, that is electronic payment system. Now what does it involve? Involves electronic payments through debit cards, credit cards, internet banking, or your UPIs. Okay, so that is what electronic payment system is. When you are transferring money, or when you are making when you're shopping, when you're doing any transactions online, and when you're transferring money directly through e-mode, okay, that is called as electronic, that is electronic payments, which uses the electronic payment system. That is the EPS system is used for making these payments. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. So I hope you're clear with what is this EPS. It's a system where you can electronically transfer funds from one account to another account, or you can make payments electronically. That is called as electronic payment system. Are you clear with what is EPS? Everybody is clear what is EPS?
Yes, sir.
Shaila, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. So next one is use of EPS. Where all do we use EPS? We use EPS in EFT. Now, can somebody tell me what is this EFT?
Electronic fund transfer.
Electronic?
Fund transfer.
Yes, it is electronic fund transfer. You can transfer your funds electronically through, you have NEFT if you remember, right? So that is, this NEFT systems or EFT system uses EPS. That is, it is done through electronic payment system itself. Then payment cards. Now payment cards are special cards which are used only for payments. Okay, like you put some amount into that particular card and you go on making payments for it. So that is called as payment cards. Okay, I'll give you a simple example, not the exact example, but a simple example. Okay, if you have gone to any play zone, okay, play zone kind of place where you have lots of games that you can play. Okay, you get a card. Okay, you get a card and you have to deposit money into the card, and you go on swiping that card whenever you make or whenever you play a different game. Okay, those are a type of payment cards where already money is deposited and you go on making payments using those cards. Okay, now those cards cannot be used for anything else. It is used only for specific purposes. So they are called as payment cards. Credit cards are, as we have already discussed, what are credit cards? You get credit limit and you can swipe those cards anywhere, anytime you want. Okay, till you have your limit intact. Once your limit is crossed, you cannot do anything. You cannot use the card until you repay the debt. Smart cards are the cards which includes your personal information as well. Okay. Now, what is the difference between payment cards and smart cards? Payment cards include only your financial information, how much money is there, and how much you have uh, basically used. So what is the balance? That is what is given by the payment cards. Smart cards are a combination. Okay, it has your financial details as well as your personal details also. So these cards can be used to in case somebody requires your personal details, you can use those cards. Those are called as smart cards because the chips that are there in these smart cards holds all your information, all your personal information, as well as your financial information. So they are called as smart cards. Now, next one is e-money. Now, e-money is basically where you can you have converted your money into electronic money and you are using it. Okay, so that is what e-money talks about. Okay, where you have your transaction password, you make an online payment through that e-money. Okay, where you've converted your money into e-form and now you're using it. Okay, that is what e-money is. A type of UPI, you can say, or a type of e-wallet also, but e-wallet is there. Okay, but e-money is basically you're converting your cash, okay, hard cash, into electronic form and you're using it for e-payments. That is what e-money talks about. Okay, again uses EPS itself, electronic payment system. E-wallets. Now we have already used e-wallets. Basically Paytm is one of the most famous one that we have, most of us have used. What happens in e-wallets is basically you transfer money to a wallet, which is electronic wallet, where you have certain money that you have already transferred and you go on using the money from that wallet, right? So that is called as e-wallet. Okay, then MPS. Can somebody tell me what is this MPS? What is MPS?
Micropayment system, sir.
It is micropayment system. What is that, Rohin?
It's like same like e-wallet, sir. As you told that like smart cards includes financial value for the online payments, you told, sir.
So basically
It's
they are like your payment cards. They are like your payment cards itself, but they are used to for payments, smaller payments, like micro payments.
small.
Is where you
Yes, sir.
use this micro payment system. Okay. Then let's go to the advantages. What are the advantages of EPSs? First one, it is time saving. Definitely, it is time saving because you need not have cash with you. You need not go to the bank and withdraw cash and then do a cash transaction. Okay, you can sit at home and you can do the electronic shopping, e-shopping. Okay, then if you go to a particular shop, let's say, making an e-payment is much easier because you need not give them change and take change and all those things doesn't come at all. So lot of time is saved in this particular e-payment system or electronic payment system. Then next one is control of expenses. Now, this happens with the organizations. This happens with the company, not with individuals. Individuals, there is no control at all because when you have a credit card and debit card, you don't have control. You go on shopping, right? But when it comes to organizations, when it comes to companies, now cash is used in a less manner, okay? Or the percentage of utilization of cash is very low as compared to the e-payment. So what happens is all your expenses are recorded. Sometimes when you do cash transactions, there are chances that those transactions may not be recorded. So you may not have a control over those cash transactions. But nowadays, what is happening? All the organizations are following e-payment system. That is, they are making payments electronically. So what is happening in short is they are able to control their expenses because all the expenses that they do, all the payments that they do are recorded. So a proper record is maintained. And because of this proper maintenance of the records, okay, the audit team or the budgeting team understands where you're going, where you're crossing the budget, where there is a variance. And whenever there is a variance, you come to know that yes, you're spending more than what is been budgeted for, and you can control that. So control of expenses is one thing which is given by e-payment, which is another advantage of EPS. Reduced risk. Now reduced risk means what? you need not carry cash. So there is no question of your cash being stolen or your cash is lost or something. It is quite safe. Okay, yes, hacking is one thing that can be done, but yes, compared to holding cash, this is much safer because it's in your account and you can transfer it. So risk is reduced when you're doing electronic payments. And there are records also. So nobody can deny saying that I did not receive. Suppose tomorrow you have purchased something and you paid cash, and later that person said, no, you did not pay me anything. Problem is, yes, there is a risk. Okay, but when you make an electronic payment, you have a proof that yes, a payment is done, and this is a proof for it. Risk is reduced. Okay, in the other words, cash, you need not carry cash at all. You do everything electronically, so there is less risk of your cash being stolen or your cash being lost somewhere, etc. So reduced risk. And last one is user friendly. Yes, comparatively it is very easy to use this electronic payment system. Yes, for senior citizens it is a bit difficult, but yes, once or twice they do it, then it's very friendly. Okay, it's not rocket science to understand what is EPS. It's quite user friendly. Okay, so I hope you're clear with this advantages of EPS. Everybody is clear with the advantages of EPS?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Next is the disadvantages. Now, what are the disadvantages? First is restrictions. Yes, there are restrictions. For cash payments, you don't have restrictions. As long as you have cash with you, you can go on making payments, cash payments, okay? But when it comes to electronic payment system, you have certain restrictions, like the restriction of the amount. You cannot transfer more than a particular amount. Second, you cannot make a transaction. Suppose, let's say I'm taking an example of Canara Bank. Okay, Canara Bank doesn't allow me to make a payments to one single party more than 5 times a day. Okay, for example, I want to pay VTU fees, let's say. So when I want to pay VTU fees, I have to pay it from the same account and to the same account, right? When I'm paying fees to the same account, I cannot pay fees for more than 5 times in a day. Like suppose I want to pay fees of 5-6 people. Okay, I cannot do that from my account alone because I'm restricted after 5 payments, because my account has made 5 payments to the same account, and more than 5 payments are not allowed to the same account. So there are restrictions. Second one is, as you all have rightly said, yes, there are chances of your account being hacked and your money being stolen by the hackers. Okay, that is another issue. So yes, cyber crimes is a big thing in the market now, and yes, there are issues with your account being hacked. But yes, if you are cautious enough, if you change your passwords regularly, if you don't share your passwords with anyone, there are less chances that your account will be hacked. Okay, so but still there is a risk of your account being hacked. And next one is, obviously, internet access is required. Okay, now this problem arises when we go outstation and there is less network and we want to make a payment, no network available and we don't have cash also. So making payments becomes a difficult task, or network issues become a difficult issues create problems for us. Okay, so that is your necessity of internet access. You cannot do anything without internet access. So EPS is dependent on internet access. That is one disadvantage of EPS. Okay, so these are the advantages and disadvantages of EPS. This was all about your EPS, that is electronic payment system. Okay, next one is MICR. Where do you find this MICR, guys? Have you heard this word MICR, and where have you find where do you see it? MICR.
So it will be on check.
Pradeep, can you come again?
On check, sir.
Check, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, Tejaswini, you're saying something called a scanner. Can you just unmute yourself and speak, please? Tejaswini?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You have said scanner. So can you tell me what is the scanner?
I was just saying about magnetic ink character recognizer code.
Yes. No, why did you say scanner? You're right.
Where through which we can scan the barcodes and all.
Oh, no, not barcodes.
I'm not sure. I just guessed it out.
No, no problem, no problem. In fact, you were, since you said scanner, I asked you because you were what I was expecting. Okay, in the later stages, that is what is done. Okay, it is used for scanning. Okay, so what happens
Yep.
is it is magnetic ink character recognition. Okay, so what you can do today is, okay, small task is if you have checkbook with you, okay, the latest checkbooks, or your parents might be having checkbooks, okay, check at the bottom of the checkbook. There are certain characters which are printed, okay, and those characters are very typical characters. They are not normal 1 2 3 4 or ABCD. They are very typically, the style is completely different. Okay, those are called, that is the MICR code. Okay, now what is this MICR code is basically, it is used for scanning your checks. Okay, now scanning your checks means what? Okay, initially your checks used to be, the settlement of the checks, okay, used to be done manually, where there used to be people who used to manually sort your checks and the settlement used to happen. Okay, nowadays the settlement happens online. Okay, it happens through a system where your checks are scanned and the settlement happens electronically. Okay, so for that you require MICR, that is magnetic ink character recognition code. Okay, now what is this code? Basically, they are character recognition technology used by the banks. MICR characters are printed in special typefaces, means the font is special. Okay, it's not used normally with a magnetic ink. The ink also which is used for those for printing the MICR code is special ink which normally uses iron oxide. Now iron oxide is used for scanning. Okay, now there are totally 9 digits on your MICR code. Now what do those 9 digits represents? Those 9 digits represents, the first 3 digits are represent your city, the next 3 digits represent your bank, and the last 3 digits represents your branch. Okay, so that is how your MICR codes helps in character recognition, helps in sorting and settlement of your checks. Okay, so this is your MICR. Okay, I'll stop here for today. Okay, in the next class we can discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of MICR. Or can somebody tell me the advantages? Yes, can somebody tell me the advantages of MICR?
There is high security, sir.
High security, very good. Who said that?
Ashwini.
Yeah, Ashwini, very good. High security because they are coded and they are scanned through a scanner. So yes, it is highly
Yeah.
secured. Then next.
So that code is of 9 digits, sir. Then we can easily identify, sir. It's like smaller number.
Okay, fine. That's one thing. Okay, so basically what happens here, again, a lot of time is saved because manual sorting of checks and settlement of checks takes a lot of time. Initially used to take around 4 to 5 days for your checks being cleared. Okay, the clearing system, the clearing and settlement system of checks was very long, 4 to 5 days long. Now it happens in 24 hours. Like today you deposit a check, tomorrow your check is cleared. So that is possible only because of MICR, where it recognizes, character recognition is very easy. It recognizes sorting happens quickly, and the transactions are settled. Okay, that is another advantage of MICR. Then there are disadvantages also.